What's going on? My name is Brandon Epstein and welcome to my YouTube channel. And the reason why I made this video and this entire channel is because I am incredibly interested in peak performance and specifically helping you achieve your peak performance in whatever it is you care about in life. Now, peak performance, like what does that mean? What I'm essentially saying is I want to help you identify whatever it is you care about and then perform your best at whatever that thing is, whether that's school or athletics or your personal life, business, whatever that is for you. I want to teach you how to be the best at it. Now, a little bit about me personally. My name is Brandon Epstein. As I said in the beginning of this video, I'm 27 years old, originally from Queens, New York, and now living out here in Santa Monica, California. Now, it's quite the journey to go from New York to where I am now, and in this video, I want to give you some context on who I am and tell you a little bit about that story. So let's hop into it. You may already know a little bit about me if you follow my other YouTube channel, The Jump Rope Dudes, and if you don't, awesome. Either way, I'm gonna give you my life story summed up into this short little video here. And so it starts back in Queens, New York. And as a young kid, I was middle class, lower middle class. We started to come up a little bit, moved to Long Island, and during that time, I was just a little bit of an angry kid. I'll admit it. I think part of it came from I had a brother with Down syndrome, and because of that, I had some unresolved feelings within me, and I just didn't know how to deal with it. So I took it out by being violent with other kids in school, and really just in general. I was a kid who really had a good heart, but had some unresolved issues inside of him. And so at the age of 12, my parents moved us all the way across the country to Eugene, Oregon. So once I got to Oregon and my life was kind of turned upside down, I had to first start to find myself again. I had to identify who do I want to be for really the first time in my life, because I was kind of on autopilot as a kid. And so once I got to Oregon, one of the things that really helped me identify myself and find out who I wanted to be was playing football. It was the first thing I got a little bit of momentum in, and I thought it was the most important thing that I could ever be doing. So in high school, I played football, wasn't a super popular kid, but I had a friend group, and when I graduated high school at the tender age of 18, I thought the most important thing I could be doing with my life at the time is playing more football. So at that time, I moved down to Los Angeles, California to go pursue my dream of playing football. Once I got down there, I was smacked in the face with a very rude awakening, and I found out that it wasn't going to be easy. I wasn't just going to be handed a starting position, and really the whole first year was a reality check for me. I didn't play at all. I think I got in and one blowout game, but besides that, I didn't play. So by the end of that first year in college, I was like, all right, this isn't fun. I'm riding the bench, I'm not playing, this is a lot of work. How do I get better? How do I take where I am right now and improve my skill set, athleticism, mindset? And this is really what piqued my interest in this whole peak performance field. This whole, hey, how do I work on myself to get better so I can be my best and achieve some of the success and outcomes that I want? And so after that season, I went back to my hometown in Oregon, and one day I was walking into a supplement shop and I met a very interesting character. And this guy turned out to be my very first mentor, hashtag Mr. Miyagi. This guy was something else. I went in initially and he was like, hey, you should take these supplements, they'll help you with your performance. Nothing crazy, branched chain amino acids. And I started with just regular sports supplements, but over time he was like, hey, how would you like to become stronger, faster, better at your sport? And I was like, well, how can I do that? And slowly he started to take me down the rabbit hole. He started to teach me how I could do things like meditation, self-affirmations, visualization, and then even some things that are super far out there like energy training, and using this energy training to become more powerful and to actually heal myself and others. Once I got back to school after this summer of training with my Mr. Miyagi, I got my first opportunity to see, does this stuff actually work? Can you actually train your mind and use these tools to go and perform better at something that you care about? And so I went back and it worked. In training camp, I dominated, and by the beginning of the season, I was our starting defensive end. And I had an incredible time learning how to use these new skills that I had, these new tools from my toolbox to get on the field. And then beyond that, I was actually working with our trainer to help other players on our team heal themselves. Now, I know this sounds like super abstract, and trust me, my football coaches hated me for being that guy who was not only a defensive end, starting defensive end, but also the guy who is telling players, hey guys, I could heal you if you want, come have a session with me. And I literally did this, and The funny thing is that it really was super beneficial to a lot of people on our team. So I was performing my best. I was, healing people. And when I say heal, it's not anything like, it's not magic. It's the same as acupuncture. You've heard of acupuncture. It uses the same principles as that to help people heal themselves and eventually get over whatever issue they're dealing with. Short story long, this peak performance stuff was working, but by the end of this season, my body personally had completely broke down. I had spent all my energy trying to help other people and using all these new tools I had, but I ended up burning myself out. And by the end of the year, I was walking to class on crutches and then taking a ton of painkillers, wrapping up my ankles, and then going and practicing because I didn't want to lose my starting spot. And we all know, if anyone knows about football in the US, like, that's what you do, right? Whether it's in college or in the pros, there's a lot of pain pills being taken, and there's a lot of mindset around like, hey, whatever it takes, do what you have to do, get on the field. And so I did, and by the end of this year, I was completely burnt out on football, and my body, specifically my ankles, were destroyed. By the end of my second year playing football, I was like, forget this. This was Division III football. I wasn't getting paid to play ball, so I was like, I'm done. And I decided to study abroad my next year. And so I went to Liverpool, England, was forced completely out of my comfort zone and had to identify again, who am I and who do I want to be? And I decided who do I want to be is someone who explores this peak performance stuff, who explores this world of how do you use the power of your mind, this supercomputer between your ears to perform your best in the physical world. And so I went back to school and I dedicated myself to this completely. And let me tell you, it was not an easy process at all. I created a self-design major. It was called the mental aspect of human performance. And I had kinesiology professors telling me, you're too stupid to pursue this line of study. And I was like, we'll see about that. And so I was a determined guy. I continued to study. I actually was able to do my self-design major successfully. And then went on beyond that in my last year in college, applied for and received a research grant to see how I could teach people to use the power of meditation to increase their bench press performance. Because I may have stopped playing football, but I did not get all the meathead out of me just in a couple of years. I still was very interested in how can you use meditation to get stronger, and that's what my study was about. I will summarize this study really quickly for you and just tell you what I did was I had two groups of people. One group of people over a certain period of time did the bench press with nothing else. They just went and did bench press every week. The other group I did this meditation with every single week, and I saw a significant increase in their ability to bench press more weight and become stronger. And so I was really pumped on this, but by the end of the study, I also learned one of my weaknesses, and this is something that I'll talk about a lot on this channel, is that you have to identify what your weaknesses are, and mine are, I am not detail oriented. I got completely lost in the minutia of the statistics and publishing the study, and I just gave up on it. And so instead, I was like, let's just figure out what's next. So college is over. This is 2012 at the time, and I decided that I wanted to continue to pursue this peak performance thing. So I applied for a bunch of positions, research positions in neuroscience and sports psychology, in the field that I was interested really, and my grades weren't good enough or my applications weren't good enough. Basically, I didn't get accepted into any of these programs. And so leaving college, I was like, well, what do I do next? I don't have a job. I was working as a fishmonger back in my hometown the year before. I was not gonna go back and cut fish again and smell like fish every day. So I wanted something different. And so instead of that, I got together with a buddy of mine who started a mobile app company, and him and I joined forces to take the stuff that I'd done my research on and bring it into the mobile app game. And what we were doing was recording the meditations that I had to help people sleep better, stop smoking cigarettes, become happier, become stronger, all these different things. I created the meditations, uploaded them to mobile apps, and by the end of, I guess it was a couple years, we had 69 mobile apps published in the App Store. This sounds like a really cool thing, and that, man, I was so successful in that period of time, but I'm gonna rewind the clock really quick and tell you how it wasn't as ideal as it might sound. Here's what happened. I started to get a little bit of success with this app company, meaning I was making, a few $1,000s a month, enough to live off of. And this was honestly one of the worst things that could have happened to me at 22 years old, because I thought being an entrepreneur was easy. And if you've ever tried to start your own business, you probably know it's definitely not an easy thing. After a few months of doing this app company, my buddy and I moved to Austin, Texas. And so from there, I tried to branch out and do a bunch of other things. I started to live a little bit above my means because I thought my app company would continue to grow. So I started to work on all these other projects that had nothing to do with the first company I started, and this is really where I started to go wrong. When my attention was diverted in all these different places, what ended up happening was nothing got the focus and energy it needed, and everything ended up failing. So all the money that I invested into these projects just disappeared. After a couple years of living in Austin, Texas, I found myself in $75,000 worth of debt and really very little income coming in, and I had to decide, like, what am I gonna do with my life now? So in just a couple short years, I went from feeling like 10 out of 10 confidence, I can do anything, I can achieve anything, to being in a ton of debt, having none of my businesses really work out, and being forced, literally forced out of my apartment. What I had to do was sell all my stuff. I just got rid of everything. I didn't have that much, but I got rid of it. I threw it out or I sold it. I subleased my apartment, which I actually wasn't allowed to do, but I did it anyway because I did not have the money to live in my apartment anymore. I packed up 2 suitcases and I booked a one-way ticket for Medellin, Colombia. Once I got to Medellin, Colombia, I didn't really have a plan. All I knew was I have to figure this out. I have a bunch of debt and I don't really have any income. And I'm also living in a country where I don't really speak the language. I was beginning to really have to look this situation in the eye that I denied so long, that like I failed in what I was doing and now I have to do something different. I remember a point where I was sitting on my couch and I was just staring at the floor thinking to myself, okay, I am out of money completely. Not having that income coming in and really asking myself like what am I gonna do? And I've always been a naturally optimistic person, upbeat person, but at this point I couldn't hold it anymore. I just started breaking down. I was bawling my eyes out, crying because I just felt helpless. All these things I've tried to do didn't work and I felt lost. I knew that the only thing I could do was continue to take action. So I started to ask myself questions like, if I could get out of this situation, how would I do it? If I could grow beyond my circumstances, what would I need to do? And what became very clear to me is I just needed to be focused. I needed to stay focused and I needed to be very deliberate with what I was doing. And so I started to grow a little bit of an online coaching business, just teaching fitness stuff, teaching the peak performance mindset stuff I was interested in, but didn't have enough consistent income coming in to pay my bills and to just give me a peace of mind. Where do I go from here? Like, I've got a little bit of money coming in, but I don't have a clear path in front of me for how I'm gonna get success. This is where a lot of things came to head for me. When I was back in Austin, Texas, I was leading these fitness classes with my buddy Dan, and he had recently quit his corporate job to start teaching jump rope fitness on the internet full time. And him and I had been in contact nonstop ever since he quit his job, and we became best friends even before that. And so after about 6 months living in Medellin, Colombia, I was like, yo man, I don't know why, but I have a feeling if you come down here and we join forces and we create this fitness company together, like something's gonna happen, something is gonna work. And he did it. He booked a flight and October 15th, 2015, Zen Fitness was birthed. When Dan arrived in Medellin, Colombia, we didn't know how to do anything. We didn't know how to edit videos. We didn't know how to do internet marketing. We didn't know how to build a website. We didn't know how to do anything involved with running a business, let alone a business that derives most of its traffic from YouTube. What do? We just started trying to figure things out. We started teaching ourselves all the skills necessary to become successful in this field. And so we grinded, we hustled. For a year straight, no one cared what we were doing. We were just kind of barely getting by because I had to make these big debt payments every month, and Dan was really not taking any salary. He was just living off his corporate savings that he had, and I was taking the salary of the company. And so again, I was getting in debt with Dan and he wasn't taking any money from the company. You can imagine in a circumstance like this, when he just quit a super cush corporate job, didn't make things easy for us as business partners either, but we stuck with it. And about a year into it, everything again came to a head. Dan's savings were just about completely gone. Our income was still very little, but we had a very fortunate circumstance that happened for us. This guy who watched our YouTube videos living on the Big Island, Hawaii, invited us to come live in his office on the Big Island, Hawaii. And so we flew out with the remaining money we did have in Medellin, Colombia. Arriving in Hawaii, things were getting very tense. We still didn't have any traction really in the business. No one cared what we were doing yet. And Dan's savings, like I said, were just about gone, and I still had these debt payments to make. We were in like a do or die situation, so we just started to work our faces off. We were working 16 hours a day, and I'm not someone who likes to brag about how much I work. I would rather work less, but we just had to because we didn't have any other option. And so we were absolutely working our faces off, and at that same time, I was dealing with a lot of insecurity from a relationship I was trying to pursue. My then wife came over and she visited us in Hawaii, and I couldn't afford to do anything with her. Like, I was out of money. And so, you know, I really wanted to pursue this relationship and make it seem like I was a serious guy, but I didn't seem very serious, not being able to buy dinner or really pay for anything. And yeah, I get it, we're in 2018, but it doesn't matter. Ask any guy, like, we all feel that same way when we're put in those situations. So I was dealing with a lot of tension in the business. Things were getting hard for me and Dan as business partners. The same thing was going on with my soon-to-be wife, and I knew things had to change. And so what I did was I just went into my toolbox and I began to really use all the tools that I've been learning about throughout the years. I use meditation to help me relieve my stress. I use special breathing practices to help change the neurochemistry in my brain so I would feel better. I would do affirmations to pump myself up and feel motivated to keep working every day. I would do goal setting exercises to make sure every action I took was in alignment with the goals that I wanted to create the life that I wanted. And I didn't quit, and Dan didn't quit, and we kept working at it. And in Hawaii, we started to experience our first little tick of upward growth. Went back to Medellin, Colombia to save money for another year or so. And now, about 2.5 years later, here we are in the United States of America. Specifically, I'm living here in my apartment in Santa Monica, California, and things are starting to go well. We have a community of over 200,000 people now on YouTube. We have an extremely passionate community that is working with us to take this new jump rope fitness movement mainstream. And I thought, why not start telling the story now? What I've always seen is that all you ever see in YouTube or in TV is the highlight reels. You see people after they're already successful. And right now, I feel like I have such a cool opportunity. Why wait for us to really get to that next level? Why not start telling the story now? With that being said, the premise of this channel is to teach you how to achieve your peak performance. I'm going to be showing you what I'm doing in my own life through growing my business, through the boxing that I'm learning how to do, through sports psychology that I'm studying, through all the things that I care about. I'm gonna show you through me. And then I'm also gonna be teaching you the best of my ability how to do it in your own life. So there's gonna be a hashtag I'm gonna be using. It's called #StackingBricks. And you'll hear me use this on all social media because I believe that greatness happens one brick at a time. You don't build a wall all at once. You build it by stacking brick by brick by brick. And you don't get success or get world class at anything all at once. You do it through the slow and steady, consistent process of stacking action on action on action. And so that's what I'm gonna be doing, and that's what I'm going to be asking you to do as well in your own life. Let's do this together. Every time you take a positive action, that is stacking a brick towards your future success. That's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe to this channel if you are excited about the content that I talked about today, and make sure to give a like a video and drop some comments below so I can see who is in the community right now, and let's get the conversation going. See you on the next video.